Alabama defense. He was a guest on Film Room with Darinoka.
So the question coming into the national championship game is, how do you deal with these two great defenses? Welcome in Auburn offensive coordinator Gus Malzahn, of course now the head coach at Arkansas State. You played Alabama. We'll start with Alabama. You played them 3 times. You had some success against. I know this year wasn't the best, but again, you kind of have an idea of what works against them and what doesn't work against them. So we'll start. You've got some video. First off, what are you going to take us to here?
Well, I think first of all, when you're playing Alabama, it's a great defense, and there's a couple things you've got to think about before you game plan. The first thing is, between the tackles, they're going to be as good as anybody in college football. They're not going to let you run between the tackles. Their run fits are unbelievable. The second thing you got to be aware of is Kirby loves field pressure, and what field pressure is blitz from the field. Okay, and then if they don't blitz from the field, he loves to roll his strong safety down and bring another hat to make you run the ball back to the boundary.
Kirby Smart, Alabama defensive coordinator.
Yeah, Kirby Smart. And then the third thing you got to be aware of is adjustments. They're the best in the country with adjustments. So if you hurt them on something, you got to know they're going to come right back to stop it. You kind of got to be thinking ahead. So what I'm going to show you this first clip is a way to run back to the boundary. Okay, now what you're going to see is a strong safety rolling down. Okay, no flat defender weak. So I'm going to go ahead and let this clip go. Run the reverse here. All right, no flat defender over here, a little misdirection, good blocking at the point of attack. And really, when you're playing Alabama, if you have a chance to beat them, you have to make big plays, okay? You have to make big plays. I do want to say this about this play. We came back 2 series later, ran the same play, and went for -1. So when we say they can make adjustments, they can definitely make adjustments.
They can absolutely make adjustments, and that worked. All right, next up.
All right, the next clip here is actually field pressure. So the Sam linebacker is going to blitz across the line. Once again, we need to run back to the boundary to try to stay out of a negative play.
When you say field pressure, you're talking about pressure coming from the strong side of the field, the side of the field where there is more room, more space.
That's correct. That's correct. Anytime that the field pressure is coming from the field, blitz, and we're going to run the speed sweep back to the boundary away from the blitz to try to stay out of a negative play.
Yep.
So here it is, speed sweep. All right, get a couple yards, stay away from the negative play. All right, so that's 2 ways, kind of attack that short side.
And now, when you start staying away from a negative play, I can imagine against this defense, you're looking at 2nd and 12 if you stick yourself in the negative. I mean, is it ultimately more important against an Alabama defense than perhaps any other defense in the country to avoid those 1 and 2 yard losses?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Anytime they get you behind the chains, really, if they can get you in 3rd down and 6+, you really have no realistic chance. So it's definitely a very important step in negative play.
You said you couldn't run up the middle unless there's something here.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We really felt strong that the only way we'd have a chance to run up the middle is when we're pacing. All right, we were going fast as we can, try to take away their aggressiveness, not let their defensive line anchor down and try to keep them from misfitting. So this was a pace situation. We're running the play as quick as we can right here. And this was a deal that, once again, when we say field pressure, here they come. Field pressure, rolling weak, no flat defender weak. But playing these guys for 3 years, all right, the only time we had success running up the middle is when we were pacing them. And we were pretty good up front 2 of those 3 years.
Now, I know in the games that you've played against LSU, you're more concerned with what they're doing defensively. But perhaps you've caught a glimpse of them offensively. Do they play well with pace? Are they going to be able to pace Alabama the way that you do?
Well, I think that's something that you could see. I mean, they have done that before in any way. I think they learned a lesson that first game. Running between the tackles, you just can't do it unless you have some kind of pace to try to get them to misfit and take away some of their aggressiveness.
You said big play. You cannot miss a big play opportunity against them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You got to find ways to create big plays in the passing game and play action. And we felt real strong about this. Play action out of a traditional 2-back set. When you play action to your running back, really felt like they can play the run with 7 guys and they could drop both safeties back. So we felt like traditional play action was no good. So we felt like we had to spread them out. And so we spread them out. We got a 2-by-2 set. We felt strongly we were going to get a single high. We know they're going to play outside leverage man on the number 2 receivers. Okay. And so we're going to run play action with our tackle going down. So try to get his eyes in the backfield. We're going to fake a block. And even though we say play action, it's going to be with our quarterback. And so it's kind of a little unconventional, but we felt like we could get him in this set and have a chance. And you can see the safety, very aggressive, one of the best players in college football right here. He's reading the tackle. He peeks back in just enough, and a big play over the top.
That Mark Barron there. And again, for people at home that are saying, that didn't look like the play action I know. You made the point to show it again, and you can go back and show it if you want. Cam Newton, in last year's case, even pretending you're running,
Right.
stepping back, is as much a play action as faking a handoff to a tailback.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You kind of gotta understand what safeties are reading. They're gonna read in the backfield of the tackle, and you'll see the tackle go down, pull the guard. That's run action to him, and then when the quarterback drops his hat down, if he'll flinch just a little bit inside, faking a block, we felt like we had a chance, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, you got a stud safety, Mark Barron, just flinching long enough to get a big play. So, as you talk about the things that work now, difficulty running up the middle unless you're pacing.
Right.
So that's a big deal too.
Right.
How early is it, do you feel like in LSU, how early would you have tried to establish a little bit of a pace to be able to establish a run up the middle? Because I know against great defenses, if you can't run up the middle a little bit, it's really tough to set anything
Yeah,
else up.
there's no doubt about that. I think after you make an initial first down, all right, that's when you can pace. As long as you've not changed personnel, all right, so the umpire puts the ball down, you can pace. So that was always our way of thinking. After that initial first down, pace them, and we'd have a realistic chance to run up the middle. We really felt strong that if you don't pace them, we're kidding ourselves to run up the middle against their defense.
Okay, you've got another one here.
Yeah, now, also, you saw us run to the boundary, okay? But we also need to have some runs to the field, all right? So we tried to get them in a set, which this is our traditional Wildcat set, and their defense has a Wildcat check. Now, one thing we knew, their Wildcat check, there's no chance of a blitz to the field for a negative play.
That's simply by design. You do not, because you blitz, you're going to automatically have a quarterback, if it's a Wildcat or a running back, gain yards.
Yeah, and this is just a speed sweep. Really, it's a called speed sweep. And we knew for sure, all right, by their defensive structure, that there was no blitz for a negative play. So this is really the only way that we felt comfortable handing the speed sweep off to run back to the field. So there it is, Wildcat. We're going to block the power up front, and we knew that they were going to be in a cover two. So here we go, cover two. The safety's going to go over the top. No chance of a blitz. Block the in-man line of scrimmage and give it to our speed guy and get him one-on-one with the safety.
LSU beat Alabama November 5th, 9-6. In regulation, they had 6 points, no touchdowns. From what you've seen of LSU's offense, from what you've dealt with trying to scheme against Alabama defense, how many points in a 60-minute football game would you deem a success? To where if you're LSU, you can look back and say, our offense did what it needed to do.
Well, I really feel like if you score 21 points, if the offense scores 21 points, I mean, this Alabama defense is the best defense I've coached against in the 6 years of being a coordinator in the college level. So if they can come up with 21 points, they've really done something special. At the same time, I really feel like they're going to have some big plays. Realistically, to march the football down the field in this defense is a stretch.